Hi, today I want to talk about healing allergies in dogs and specifically skin conditions, ear infections. Um, One of the main reasons dogs get allergies is because of their diet. There are other reasons as well, and at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the most important thing I found out about treating a dog with severe skin condition and severe licking of the paws, severe ear infections, and I will share with you everything that I have learned over the last, well, I had a dog who, aside from studying herbal medicine for 29 years, I had a Labrador who had severe allergies for her whole life. She lived to be almost 15 years old. She was Claire. She was a chocolate lab, chocolatey Claire. So Claire had licked her paws 24/7, drove us totally crazy. Um, I took her to vets. She kept getting ear infections. I I had a suggestion from a really good pet sitter who suggested I take my pets to a holistic veterinarian. So Dr. Jan did some allergy tests on Claire, and most dogs who have allergies have like um, many things that they're allergic to, but the main thing that Claire was allergic to, ironically, are mites, dust mites, and you might not know that this exists, but there's a thing called a dry food storage mite. So Claire was allergic to just 5 things. She didn't have a whole array of allergies. She had dust mites, which are things in the air, in the carpet, in the bedding. She had an allergy to dry food storage mites, things you would find in rice, and obviously dry dog food pellets, bread. She had an allergy to a certain type of mold in Florida, and she was allergic to Bermuda grass. So the main type of grass we have here is St. Augustine. So that helped Claire a lot. I don't know um, if she would have been able to survive in another climate where the most popular grass is Bermuda grass. So there were some parks that we used to take her to that had Bermuda grass. So we stopped taking her to those particular parks. So that was one of the first things that we did. We eliminated as many of the allergens as possible. And if you don't get your dog allergy tested, that's part of the reason I'm making this video, is because all the work that I did over the course of her whole life, 15 years, I worked diligently to prevent the allergies and to work with her immune system and her body and her environment to change it. So even if you can't get your dog allergy tested, maybe you can try some of the different protocol that I recommend. So the first thing is to try and remove allergens. So no dry food, no dry dog food. Um, there are certain types of food that dogs are allergic to, and Claire proved to be allergic to things like beef, seemed to trigger her allergies worse. So chicken triggered her allergies worse. So ended up, I tried her on a raw diet where I made her food homemade. I used vegetables and fruit and meat, raw meat and bones. And I'll tell you more about the bones, but she did really well on the raw diet, and so did my other Labrador. Their coats were absolutely gorgeous. They looked beautiful, and they were really healthy and happy. But as far as the allergies go, it really didn't help. And so after 4 years, I decided to try a different food. So I took her off of the raw diet, and she seemed to be okay with turkey. So I gave her a canned food. I think it's called Nulo, and it was turkey and sweet potato. White potatoes are a common trigger of allergies in dogs, so I don't recommend any canned food with wheat, rice, corn, um, white potatoes. Brown rice, I don't recommend even. I recommend, or barley. I was really hard to find food that didn't have certain grains in it, even because some have a little bit of grain. So I found a food in the end that I fed her the rest of her life with turkey and sweet potato. And there are some other canned foods at the store you can find for them at the pet stores with turkey and sweet potato, or a protein that your dog can have with sweet potato. And some dogs might be able to tolerate the dry food. Corn is a known trigger. It's like a carcinogen for dogs, so I don't recommend any food with corn. However, with some cats with urinary tract infection type of disorders, there's one of the foods that works really well to prevent the urinary crystals is actually made with corn. So I do make exceptions. However, if you can avoid it, especially with an animal with allergies. So the next thing we did, we actually ripped out the carpet and put hardwood floor in for the dog, and that helped immensely. I tried to wash her bedding as often as possible. She suffered so severely from the allergies that I think she had 3 or 4 ear surgeries because she shook her head so hard she would pop the blood vessels in her ear flap, and so she would have them repaired, and then she would shake her head over and over again and then pop the surgery, so then it would just keep bleeding, and she came home with drains in her ears. And by the time she was 8, maybe even younger, her both of her ear flaps were they were basically all scar tissue because she shook her head so many times so hard. And I cleaned her ears a lot. I cleaned her ears with medication from the vet, and I cleaned them with apple cider vinegar. That I think made it worse. Anything I really used in her ears didn't really help that much. It was tough duty for her. So switching the foods was really big. That helped a lot. However, it didn't really help with their incessant foot chewing. So she would just sit there and chew and chew and chew. And if you have a dog that does that, you know how awful it is. So with the changes in the diet, that helped immensely. But one of the main things that helped, and this is what I promised you at the beginning of the video, my pet sitter recommended that I exercise her more because labs need a lot of exercise. So I exercise my dogs a lot and I walk them a lot, and ended up with Claire, instead of taking her, we had a big backyard. We let her run in the backyard. We played and we played fetch, but every day I would take her for a big long walk. And it turned out, my pet sitter told me to take her for more than one walk a day. So I started taking her for 2 big long walks a day, and that helped her more than anything, which led me to believe that part of the foot chewing was anxiety based, and she didn't totally stop, but it helped immensely. One of the other things I did with Claire, and I don't recommend this for an older dog that hasn't grown up this way, and even I had to stop doing it with Claire once she was about 13 or probably about 13 or 14, but once she got to a certain age, I stopped doing this. But ever since I could, I gave her raw marrow bones from the butcher at the grocery store. And she would just gnaw on those and not cooked at all, because raw bones are actually, and you can do some research on this, they're actually soft. And so the dogs can chew them and chew the marrow out and work on them for hours instead of chewing their feet and chewing holes in their feet and making blood all over and making her life miserable. So she would chew on the raw bones, and she her teeth were so white. Her teeth stayed white her whole life. And the only thing about giving your dog the raw bones is kind of messy. So if you can give them those out in the grass or out on a patio or on a towel. So oftentimes if I would leave, because Claire had, my dogs were very spoiled, so they were always with me. So if I left, they sort of freaked out. And so whenever I would have to leave, I would put her in the master bathroom with a raw bone, and it would get blood everywhere. So I know it's gross, but if you're watching this video this long, you already spoil your dogs enough that you just deal with it. So I would put towels out for her and then let her chew the bones on those. And then when I come home, I would just throw those in the wash machine if I couldn't leave her outside to chew the bones. But definitely not on your carpet or in your kitchen or anything where you don't want a big mess. But that is some of my experience with dogs with allergies. I'll look back in her charts a little bit and see if I can find some other recommendation for the ears. You know, I tried so many different things, and the ointments and the things that you stick inside of their ears. The main thing that really helped her was cleaning them, and that's what it was. It was a solution. I'll try and put a link below in the comment section or just below this video, and I will put the name of that ears cleaning solution. I think that was the very best thing I found, was keeping her ears clean with that, and all the other suggestions. No rice, no corn, no white potato, no barley, no wheat, only sweet potato, and canned food, no dry food. Try to remove as many dust mites as possible. And then, if possible, have your dog allergy tested. Okay, thanks for watching.